Hi there, welcome back, MC Time Trackers. Today, I'm not just sharing another English lesson. I'm sharing a piece of history. Every word I speak, every story I tell, carries the echoes of time, of people, of moments, of voices that shaped our world. So don't just listen to practice English. Listen to feel. Turn off the noise around you and let the language guide you back to where it all began. Because when you learn English through history, you're not just learning words. You're discovering the soul of humanity itself. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a story. If you can't finish this episode today, you can always come back. The past will be waiting for you. Native women and their sacred power in Indigenous history. Native women have always held a sacred and powerful place within their communities, not only as mothers, aunties, and grandmothers, but also as spiritual leaders, healers, and decision makers. Across Native traditions, stories tell of divine female figures connected to the earth and sea, to life and death, to creation and renewal. Before Europeans ever set foot in what we now call North America, Indigenous beliefs about gender were remarkably diverse. Many tribes were matriarchal, where women carried social authority and guided important community decisions. These societies valued balance, equality, gift-giving, and peace-building over domination or hierarchy. Matriarchal strength and the power of women. Among the Navajo, or Dine, mothers and grandmothers were the matriarchs, the heads of family clans. While men might lead councils or prepare for war, women had the final word in family disputes. They owned land, livestock, and crafts, and controlled their own income. The Dene also followed matrilineal heritage, meaning ancestry and identity were traced through the mother's line. In their spirituality, too, men and women shared equal power. Both could become medicine people, traditional healers performing sacred ceremonies. A Navajo legend tells of Azzoan Nadlehe, or changing woman, who told the sun, father of her children, "You are of the sky, I am of the earth. Though we are different, we share one spirit and equal worth." While Navajo women didn't join wars, others did. Running Eagle, a warrior of the Blackfeet Nation, fought alongside men. And in the late 1800s, Buffalo Calf Road, woman of the Northern Cheyenne, rode into battle to save her fallen brother, then fought again at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Some say she may have delivered the final blow to General Custer himself. Female leaders and diplomats. Beyond the battlefield, Native women also forged peace and unity. One of the most powerful Indigenous confederacies, the Haudenosaunee, was co-founded by a woman named Jikonsasa, known as the Mother of Nations. Long before European arrival, 5 tribes, the Cayuga, Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, and Seneca, were locked in endless conflict. Jikonsasa lived along a warpath used by warriors of every nation. Instead of closing her doors, she offered them food and shelter, helping resolve their disputes. When a man called Peacemaker sought to unite the tribes, he came to her. Inspired by her kindness and neutrality, he asked her to help establish a government built on peace and consensus, symbolized as a longhouse, where each nation had its own seat. Thanks to Jikonsase's guidance, women and men were granted equal roles within the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, a principle that still shapes their governance today. Diversity among Native cultures. While many Native nations honored women as equals, not all did. Some divided labor by gender, and in others, men held most political and economic power. Yet indigenous understandings of gender were very different from European ones. Among the Dene, Nādalehai, are individuals who embody both masculine and feminine energies, sacred and respected as symbols of harmony. Native Hawaiians, too, recognize Mahu, people who transcend binary gender and bridge the spiritual worlds of male and female. In short, there was no single native view of gender. It was complex, fluid, and deeply spiritual. But colonization changed everything. The impact of European colonization. When Europeans arrived, they were unsettled by societies where women held authority. As Laguna Pueblo scholar Paula Gunn Allen once wrote, "The colonizers saw that as long as women held such unquestioned power, total conquest of the continents would fail." So, colonizers deliberately dismantled women's power. They replaced matriarchal systems with patriarchal ones, elevating men to new positions of authority, and used gender-based violence as a weapon of control. Women were targeted because of their ability to give life something sacred to native people, but seen by colonizers as a threat. By assaulting and killing women, settlers sought to destroy the social and spiritual core of native nations. As the Northern Cheyenne say, "A nation is not conquered until the hearts of its women are on the ground." The legacy of violence. That campaign of destruction left scars that still remain. By the 20th century, the U.S. government was still violating Native women's bodies and rights. In the 1,970 seconds, federal doctors sterilized thousands of Native women without their consent, including at least 36 girls under the age of 21. Between 1,973 and 1,976, roughly 1 in 4 Native American women were sterilized against their will. Today, Native women face some of the highest rates of violence in the United States. Nearly 96% of assaults against them are committed by non-Native men. According to CDC data from 2018-2023, homicide was the third leading cause of death for Native women ages 15-24, and among the top 10 for ages 25-44. Even these numbers underestimate reality. Many police reports mislabel Native women as Hispanic or other, erasing their identities, and federal law still limits tribal governments' ability to prosecute non-Native offenders on Native land. The rise of the MMIW movement. Despite these injustices, Native women continue to fight back. The Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women MMIW movement has become a powerful force, raising awareness and demanding accountability for violence against Indigenous women, femmes, Two-Spirit people, and girls. Their activism led to real change. In 2020, Congress passed the Not Invisible Act, establishing a federal commission to improve the investigation and prevention of murder, trafficking, and disappearances on Native lands. The bill was co-authored by Deb Haaland, a proud member of the Laguna Pueblo Nation and the first Native woman ever to serve as U.S. Secretary of the Interior. Her leadership marked a historic return of Native women to positions of national power, something colonization once tried to erase. Modern Indigenous leadership. Native women's activism didn't begin with MMIW, and it won't end there. In the 1,960 seconds, LaDonna Harris, a Comanche leader, founded Oklahomans for Indian Opportunity, the first intertribal coalition in Oklahoma. Her work united indigenous communities and inspired new movements for equality and sovereignty. Later, she founded Americans for Indian Opportunity, expanding her mission across the country. Another trailblazer was Eloise Cobell, known as Yellow Bird Woman, a member of the Blackfeet Nation. As her tribe's treasurer, she discovered that the U.S. government had failed to pay native landowners for decades of oil and resource extraction. In 1996, she led a class action lawsuit on behalf of over 500,000 Native Americans, known as Cobell v. Salazar. 14 years later, she won a $3.4 billion settlement, the largest of its kind in U.S. history, to restore land, repay trust funds, and create scholarships for Native youth. Eloise Cobell's fight proved that justice, though delayed, can still be reclaimed, and that Native women continue to lead with courage and integrity. Influence on the American women's movement. The legacy of Native women even shaped American feminism. In the 19th century, suffragist Matilda Joslyn Gage and others found inspiration in the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, where women owned property, chose leaders, and participated equally in governance rights that white women still lacked at the time. Gage wrote, "Never was justice more perfect. Never was civilization higher." This connection shows that Native women didn't just influence Indigenous history, they influenced all of American history. Enduring strength and wisdom. Through centuries of colonization, violence, and oppression, Native women have never stopped leading. They continue to heal, teach, organize, and fight for their people. They are keepers of culture, defenders of justice, and guardians of life itself. And that's all for today's journey through history and language. If these stories touched your heart, remember, every time you learn a new word, you're keeping a piece of history alive. So keep listening, keep feeling, and keep discovering the world through English. Thank you for staying with MC Time Trackers. Until now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because next time we'll travel even deeper into the past together. Until then, take care, keep learning, and never stop exploring the story of humanity.